deadly storm is unfolding across the Middle East. Iran, the United States, and Israel are now locked in a 9-day conflict that has already claimed lives, devastated cities, and threatened to ignite a wider regional war. Tonight, we bring you the latest updates from the front lines, the escalating military strikes, and the political moves that could shape the fate of an entire region. The conflict involving Iran, the United States, and Israel has now entered its 9th day, and tensions across the Middle East continue to intensify. Military strikes, political disputes, and growing fears of a wider regional war are dominating headlines as governments and civilians alike brace for what could be a prolonged conflict. One of the most significant developments has been the announcement from Iranian officials that a majority consensus has now been reached on the successor to the country's late Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Khamenei was reportedly killed during joint U.S. and Israeli airstrikes at the beginning of the conflict last weekend. His death marked a historic and deeply controversial moment for Iran, as he had served as the country's supreme leader for decades and was considered one of the most powerful political figures in the region. Despite reports that a consensus has been reached regarding his successor, Iranian authorities have not yet publicly confirmed the identity of the individual who will assume the role. In Iran's political system, the supreme leader holds ultimate authority over the military, judiciary, and major political decisions. The position is chosen by the Assembly of Experts, a powerful clerical body composed of 88 members. This assembly has the responsibility of selecting and supervising the supreme leader, making it one of the most influential institutions within the Iranian government. The uncertainty surrounding Iran's leadership comes at a critical moment, as the country faces intense military pressure and growing diplomatic isolation. Meanwhile, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has attempted to clarify earlier statements regarding attacks on neighboring Gulf states. Earlier in the conflict, Pezeshkian had warned that countries hosting foreign military bases could become targets if their territory was used to launch attacks against Iran. Those comments raised alarm across the Gulf region, where several nations maintain close military partnerships with Western allies. However, the Iranian president now says his remarks were misunderstood and that Iran does not intend to deliberately target its neighbors unless they directly participate in military actions against the country. Despite that clarification, Iranian forces have continued launching retaliatory operations across the region. Drones and rockets have been fired toward Israel and several Gulf nations, including Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates. In Kuwait, authorities reported that at least 2 major fires broke out following recent attacks. One incident involved a high-rise residential tower that caught fire after what officials believe was the impact of debris from intercepted drones. Emergency services responded quickly, evacuating residents and battling the flames for several hours before bringing the situation under control. Witnesses described scenes of chaos as thick smoke poured from the upper floors of the building, while emergency vehicles surrounded the area. Another strike reportedly targeted an oil storage facility near the main international airport in Bahrain. Officials there confirmed that fragments from intercepted drones fell onto nearby areas, injuring at least 3 people. Authorities warned that attacks on infrastructure such as airports and fuel depots could pose serious risks not only to local communities, but also to international transportation and energy supplies. Across the Gulf region, governments have increased security and placed military forces on high alert in response to the escalating threats. Inside Iran itself, heavy bombardment has continued across several major cities. The capital, Tehran, has experienced some of the most intense attacks since the conflict began.
Israeli officials said their forces launched a new wave of strikes targeting what they described as strategic infrastructure and remaining military facilities. Among the locations reportedly struck was Tehran's main international airport, as well as several oil depots and fuel storage sites in and around the capital. Late Saturday night, powerful explosions were reported after airstrikes hit a major oil refinery located south of the city. Residents described massive fires erupting across the facility, sending towering plumes of black smoke into the sky. Some witnesses said the blasts were so powerful that nearby homes and businesses were damaged by the shockwaves. In several neighborhoods, residents reported seeing flames spreading from the refinery to surrounding buildings, prompting emergency crews to rush to the scene. Images circulating on social media showed large areas of the city skyline covered in smoke, while firefighters worked to contain the flames and prevent further damage. Analysts say the pattern of strikes suggests that the U.S. and Israeli campaign may now be expanding beyond traditional military targets. With many of Iran's military installations already damaged or destroyed, the focus appears to be shifting towards infrastructure that supports the country's economy and energy sector. Such strikes could significantly weaken Iran's ability to sustain prolonged military operations. Meanwhile, political tensions have intensified in Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump has taken a firm stance, declaring that there will be no diplomatic agreement with Iran unless the country accepts what he described as unconditional surrender. Trump has repeatedly said that the military pressure applied by the United States and Israel will continue until Iran agrees to end its resistance. Over the weekend, the president attended a solemn ceremony at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. During the ceremony, the remains of 6 Americans who were killed during the conflict were returned to the United States. The event was attended by senior government officials, including the First Lady and the Vice President, and served as a reminder of the growing human cost of the war. The conflict has also created tensions between the United States and some of its traditional allies. Britain's Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, initially declined to support the strikes on Iran and reportedly prevented the use of British military bases during the early stages of the operation. However, that position now appears to be changing as the United Kingdom and several allied nations face increasing pressure to respond to the widening crisis. Reports indicate that the British aircraft carrier Prince of Wales is now being prepared for a possible deployment to the Middle East. If deployed, the carrier could significantly increase Western military presence in the region, although officials have not yet confirmed whether it will participate directly in combat operations. Despite these developments, the skies above Tehran have continued to glow with the orange light of repeated airstrikes. Residents in the capital have described nights filled with the sounds of explosions and aircraft flying overhead. One resident told reporters that the bombardment was so intense it felt as if night had suddenly turned into day. While Washington hopes sustained military pressure will force Iran to surrender, Iranian leaders have strongly rejected that possibility. In a recorded message broadcast on state television, President Pezeshkian said Iran would never accept unconditional surrender and would continue defending its sovereignty. However, he also expressed regret that attacks carried out during the conflict had affected neighboring Gulf states. Pezeshkian apologized to regional governments for the impact of those strikes, while emphasizing that Iran views the conflict as a response to foreign aggression. Leaders across the Gulf region have reacted with concern and anger. The President of the United Arab Emirates visited civilians who were injured during recent attacks and warned that Gulf nations should not be seen as easy targets. He emphasized that countries in the region would take necessary steps to protect their citizens and critical infrastructure. Beyond Iran, the conflict has also spread into Lebanon. Israeli forces have carried out additional airstrikes against the militant group Hezbollah, which has long been considered one of Iran's key regional allies. In the southern Lebanese town of Maifodoun, rescue teams have been searching through the rubble after
A deadly storm is unfolding across the Middle East. Iran, the United States, and Israel are now locked in a 9-day conflict that has already claimed lives, devastated cities, and threatened to ignite a wider regional war. Tonight, we bring you the latest updates from the front lines, the escalating military strikes, and the political moves that could shape the fate of an entire region. The conflict involving Iran, the United States, and Israel has now entered its 9th day, and tensions across the Middle East continue to intensify. Military strikes, political disputes, and growing fears of a wider regional war are dominating headlines as governments and civilians alike brace for what could be a prolonged conflict. One of the most significant developments has been the announcement from Iranian officials that a majority consensus has now been